All right, we're back for round 6. Devin O'Donnell did a great job. Becky Bell, you're in for the evening coverage again, just like yesterday. How are you doing? Aside from, well, your little mishap that we kind of saw in the preview window.
Yeah, I managed to spill my coffee all over my desk and iPad, and now my dog is also coming in to lick up what is left on the floor. So, all is well. At least I'm here. I'm getting to commentate some Magic now. So there's the silver lining at the end of this, but the last 10 minutes getting on here were more hectic than I intended.
Well, that's coffee's a vile liquid. You should want no part of it. And shame on Apollo for trying to lick it up too. I mean, he should know better
It's
than
because
that.
there was milk in it, which
Oh,
actually is the vile liquid.
well, we'll have our differences of opinion on that one. Anyway, we got Pioneer coming up. We're moving into round 6 here. We've got an actual race for the second spot in the leaderboard for season 2 standings, which locks up today. But if the players are ready, we're gonna go ahead and watch the beginning of the match here, and then we'll get to that at the end of the round, maybe, or if there's an extensive break. Also, a note for the chat: the judges did investigate the Riding Regisaur that didn't appear to be in the deck list. The player actually went to the judges after, because some of his friends texted them, were like, "Hey, there's an issue." He did go to the judges and say, "This deck list got messed up." He was allowed to correct the deck list and will receive a game loss. So game 1 of round 6, he will start down, but his deck list is now corrected for what he chose it to be the rest of the day. Right now, we've got Sam Duchow against Matthew Hoey. Mono White Aggro versus Azorius Control. Okay, round 6. Matthew Hoey has been really a dominant force on the Nerd Rage series for years. Not quite this year, not living quite up to his standards. So we'll see if a top 8 today may turn that around a little bit.
He's gonna watch this back, hear you say that, and have some fighting words for you later, Joe.
Maybe he will, but if he does, that's okay. Sam Duchow starting down a card here, which it's always nice to see. So the players don't know what they're playing. We're in closed deck list at this point in the tournament. Mono White Aggro, you're going to be trying to put the pressure on the Azorius Control before the sweepers and the counter start acting up. And really the primary way to do that is to have Thalia guard the Thraben on turn 2.
We just had a little bit of a scry bug. We put back a Hopeful Initiate, and then we put back on top, or we pulled off the top of our deck a Hopeful Initiate. So
that's too bad for Sam Duchow, because that's not going to do a ton right here. And it's only a 3 of in the deck as opposed to so many 4 ofs. But I'm sure he won't mind too much if he's got to land in a Thalia here, or maybe a Thalia's Lieutenant, but Thalia guarding your Thraben is really what you want before the full counter suite comes online. And it's going to be the Hopeful Initiate. So playing around Censor, and Matthew Hoey actually does have a copy in hand, or maybe even 2 copies.
Ooh, yeah, it does look like 2 copies, and may hold on to this other one, or may decide to cycle it as well. Nope, gonna decide to keep one of them. Kind of makes sense. You maybe weren't able to get your opponent this turn, but Mono White usually only has so many lands.
That's true. They also only need so many lands to cast all their 1 and 2 mana spells, but there are 3s in the deck. We'll see. Matthew Hoey maybe has a copy of Absorb in there as well. So counter magic flowing, which is great at the beginning, but then he is going to need some board containment at some point, as these attackers, while not overpowering yet, will get out of hand eventually. Here's a Thalia's Lieutenant.
And still playing around Censor. As you mentioned, though, that Absorb, that one a little bit harder to play around without playing any counter spells of our own. So Thalia's Lieutenant not going to be making it onto the board this time around.
Yeah, still attack for 4. I mean, that's reasonable. Slightly more damage than Matthew Hoey gained this turn from the Absorb.
Just barely.
And keeps peeling lands. Hall of Storm Giants in hand here. I think we're going to see, a Doomskar being foretold, I believe is the name of the mechanic. So setting up for the future. And so we're seeing, we do see in the last month or so, these blue-white decks are now running a variety of foretell cards, and I assume that is in large part due to the printing of Liliana, or the reprinting of Liliana.
Yeah, this is kind of an interesting slew of foretell cards too. It's playing the one of Doomskar, Saw It Coming, Behold the Multiverse. So we
Mhm.
are playing like at least enough low amount of foretell spells that we're not totally giving it away, but most of the time it's pretty safe to say that if a card enters the foretell zone, especially in a deck like this, that you are looking at one of those three cards.
Mhm. All right, Thalia's Lieutenant coming back into play here from Extraction Specialist, still getting around the Censor. This is a pretty nice card to bring back, pumping the creatures in play. And now, okay, I mean, this is a pretty good attack.
Oh yeah, no, Extraction Specialist, a pretty sweet card
Yeah,
from
it's
one of
so
the newer
strong.
sets. And yeah, it's so cool. Loving that we're getting to see it played in Pioneer as well. And is gonna prompt finally that second Censor to be taken out of the hand. But thankfully that card does cycle as well. So Matt Hoey not looking too upset about having that in the deck either.
No, and this is going to be backbreaking. Doomskar.
The one of
Sam's like, well, I've got Brave the Elements in my hand. Does that save my guys? No.
no. If only.
All right, so you can see there, Doomskar, 5 mana, destroy all creatures. Foretell cost is 3. Sam's like, well, this Lieutenant stays in play. Matthew always like, no, it doesn't.
No.
Just because it can't attack doesn't mean it's not in play.
And it also can't block, and it also can't stay in play.
All right, well, I guess there's at least a Mutavault, so Sam
Hey.
can continue the pressure.
Yeah.
But attacking for 2 is a lot less impressive than what he had going on before. And Matt did foretell another card there. I didn't see what that one was. But like you were saying, I believe we're on singletons, right? Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
Behold the Multiverse.
There's one copy of Doomskar, one copy of Behold the Multiverse, 2 copies of Saw It Coming. So we're playing a little bit more foretell than the average deck. Most of them are kind of just doing a bunch of one-ups, but this time we got at least 2 Saw It Comings.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they do provide cover for each other. Not wanting to give away for your opponent. What you have picks up an absorb, and I didn't see the other card, but maybe it's a Supreme Verdict. Either way, Matthew looking quite good here. Hall of Storm Giants hits the board, and well, Sam Duchow, I mean, this isn't exactly a deck that's built to recover from Supreme Verdict.
Absolutely not. I mean, hard enough to recover from the Doomskar from earlier, having something else as backup. And normally you'd be like, okay, at least I have this Mutavault. This Mutavault can certainly be able to do some damage. But now that there's that Hall of the Storm Giants in play, like eventually that is going to be able to do some blocking against this little 2/2.
Yeah, or if you just start attacking, it'll win the race.
Exactly. Very true.
All right.
Kytheon.
Yeah.
Woo.
I mean, that's something. But Matthew's like, well, it's something. It may not be much,
It's
but
never going to flip, though.
Yeah, it's still enough to earn my absorb.
On the off chance that we draw another Mutavault and that's going to be the way that you get to flip the Kytheon, it's worth just, saying, I'm not going to worry about the thing that could possibly end up being my downfall.
Mm-hmm. All right. Matt Hallowed Fountain untapped, costing 2 life in order to enable the Hall of Storm Giants. So yeah, that will prevent the Mutavault from doing too much here. Although at the cost of leaving all the mana untapped, I don't know if Matthew really cares about that too much. Brave the Elements to hand out. Brave the Elements gives all your white creatures protection from the chosen color?
Brave the Elements
Is it all your
reads, choose a color, white creatures gain
Yeah.
protection from the
So
chosen
it
color.
doesn't even work with Mutavault.
Nope.
So that's
Poor little Mutavault.
Yeah.
The sad part is even if we did start attacking and try to get this Hall of the Storm Giants, Leyline Binding, it's a good card, but the ward that is on Hall of the Storm Giants certainly makes things a little bit more difficult as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Matthew, not in any rush here, really. It doesn't need to be. As long as Sam's offense is pretty much stalled out, Matthew can wait for a win condition that's doesn't require, tapping 6 or 7 mana main phase.
Mm-hmm. Also, I'm ridiculous and thought that Brave the Elements was Leyline Binding. I'm just very used to seeing Leyline Binding now, and it has very similar coloring. And so on like a quick glance, even though we just talked about Brave the Elements, listen, I needed the coffee that fell all over my desk is what I'm trying to get at here.
That's all right. You'll join a long commentator history of misreading cards in play and in hand.
No, I felt really cool when Honorok was like, I don't know what Elvish Mystic this is. And I got to, I'm like in chat doing what everyone else
Yeah,
does. And I'm
I
like,
saw
it's
you.
from the secret lair.
Okay,
It felt
well,
nice. It felt nice to be the person in chat doing it for once, you know? I appreciate you all. In a weird way. Even sometimes I know that y'all don't have the best intentions, you know, sometimes it's still fun. I get
no,
it.
they're doing good stuff. I mean, they helped catch a deckless error last round. You know,
Yeah, very true.
chat lethal, chat, being wrong about things that happens, but chat sometimes helps out. Sometimes they're correct, sometimes they help. Even in this case, they actually helped the tournament. And Matthew Hoey intuitively blocking the Mutavault here, which cannot be protected by Brave the Elements.
Mm-hmm.
So Hopeful Initiate gets in for 2, but that is vulnerable to most of Matt's sorcery speed removal, whereas the Mutavault isn't. So wise decision making there. And look at that. Brutal Cathar with
What a
Matt.
good card.
Yeah. Matt was like, doesn't that say like removes non-land, non-creatures? Nope. This Hall of the Storm Giants is actually under the Brutal Cathar now, as the ward is paid for.
Yeah, Matt Hoey instead is like, wait a minute, doesn't this say, do you want to pay? And then Sam goes, yep, I've waited to have this much mana this far into this game for exactly this moment.
Right. Yeah, that's true. 7 land is not the ideal for Sam Duchow. Now, Matt does have Supreme Vert here to rescue his Hall of the Storm Giants from the evil Brutal Cathar. Brings it back into play on his side of the board. And, I mean, if Sam had any further hopes of winning this game, I imagine they're now dashed.
Yeah, I think that's pretty safe to say. Especially now that we don't have that little old reliable Mutavault in play either. Just a whole lot of things not ending up going Sam's way. I mean, normally I would love to be like, wow, look, this Adeline's going to be able to get something done if there weren't a full grip of cards in Matt Hoy's hand and a Shark Typhoon being the draw for turn, which basically, I was going to say stone walls and then I was going to say shark walls, but yeah, it's basically a big shark wall to stop whatever Sam could be trying to do, as Detention Sphere actually tries to be what takes down Adeline.
Mm-hmm. Adeline here, one of the rare cases where it doesn't effectively have a haste token, because you do have to attack with other creatures, and unusually there actually isn't another creature. Brave the Elements will attempt to save the Adeline. Dovin's Veto will put a stop to that. And Sam now out of cards, out of action. No Mutavaults left, just basics. It is day, however.
It is day. We'll see if
so he's having
Mhm.
he's having some impact on the game, as Sam did cause it to be day, but that's about it right now.
That's true. We'll see. Are we going to make a play? Will it become night? Will we continue to have an impact on the game?
Maybe we'll find something to commentate on that's more important than the status
night and
of
day?
the sun rotation. But yeah, that's all that's going on right now.
You
Sam,
know, also props to Sam for being very on top of it, actually changing it to night and being like in tune with exactly how this is happening, as you know that things are not going very well when Shark Typhoon gets hard cast for the enchantment side and isn't being cycled.
yeah, this is bad news. Sam Duchow's at 20, but that's going to drop pretty quickly. Oh, and there is Thalia, Guardian of Thraben, right on time.
Yep. The phrase is better late than never, but in this case, I think late is still very late.
Yes, Matt likely to have plenty of things that can deal with that. Here's a portable hole. It's like, get a 1/1 shark, take down Thalia. Memory Deluge among the leftovers in hand. Sam's showing a lot of heart here, or perseverance, or stubbornness, maybe, by continuing to play out this game.
Trying to give us a show. I have a question. Should that shark be a 2/2 because it costs 2 mana? Because of Thalia?
That occurred to me when it was on the stack. I don't believe so. I think mana value is genuinely whatever's printed on the card.
That's what okay. That's kind of what I thought too, but then I had a moment where I was like, am I right? Am I actually wrong? And it's going to pay off that we kept track of whether it was night or not.
Okay, so I don't know the name of the backside of Brutal Cathar, but it is in play now, and Matthew Hoey is going to bring in
the Wandering Emperor.
Wandering Emperor and make a couple tokens here. 4/4 flyer. And a Samurai. There it is. Moonrage Brute. Doesn't even get to exile the token because it's on the night side.
Oh, darn.
But, I mean, it has first strike.
Does have first strike.
Yeah.
And Ward 3.
That's
and Matt Hoey's at 6. If Matt Hoey had to pay for that Ward 3 twice, Matt Hoey would be dead. So.
Oh, he probably won't do it then.
Yeah. Are you paying for the Ward? Going to 3?
Yeah, looks like it. I mean, this game better be almost over. Matthew Hoey's score pad has run out of room. He cannot lose any more life and keep track of it. But here's an attack for, looks like 7. And I have not seen this play, but will use it to, I believe, kill his own shark in order to gain 2 life.
What is the list? We may never know. That little card that's on the field doesn't actually tell us. Oh, the list is a shark token. Okay. How big is that list shark token?
What?
The card that's on the full
on the
left
bottom?
side of Matt Hoey is actually is supposed to be a shark token. We've been informed.
Oh, okay. Are we sure about that? Anyway, here's a March of Other Light. Here's a Brave the Elements. We're gonna. Oh yeah, you're right. Okay. Well, or I think that was wait. Now it's a shark token. I think that
now
might
it's a shark
waiting.
Token. Yeah.
I think we were misinformed by the director there. But anyway, now it's in play as a 5/5, and now the game is over with.
Okay. I feel like everyone else who commentates is always like Devin knows so much, Anurag knows so much, and then I come in here and I'm just like chaos.
Okay. Well, I thought where you're going with that was you were saying those two know so much, and then there's me. And I was like,
and I also know a lot
true,
about different things.
No, you're all right. No, we're team fun is what we are.
Exactly. Thank you.
All right. So let's go ahead and look some deck lists here. See what Sam's got in the sideboard to dig his way out of this game 1 deficit. Do we have any more taxing creatures like Raydon? No.
Unfortunately.
I mean, there's a Gideon, Ally of Zendikar, and Wedding Announcements. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, those are cards that positively impact the board.
Selfless Spirit is also quite good.
Yeah.
So I think that those gotta be winners.
Yeah.
This might be a situation where you're wishing, man, I wish I'd brought an extra Gideon Ally of Zendikar to put in my sideboard today. But, you know, that's okay. Maybe we'll find this one Gideon Ally of Zendikar and it'll be able to do a lot. Hopefully these Wedding Announcements can draw some cards or make us some creatures so that we can recover a little bit better from these board wipes, or maybe a Selfless Spirit. We'll be able to save the rest of our creatures, but those have got to be winners for this.
Yeah, I mean, well, something's got, I mean, that game 1, I mean, it took quite a while, but it was over. As soon as that Doomskar went off, the game was done, basically. Yeah. All right, let's look at Matt Hoey's deck, see if he's got any ways to improve what already seems somewhat favorable. You can see the state of the main there and the sideboard. So as far as the main deck goes, you may want to trim some counters. I don't know the Dovin's Veto. I mean, he did actually get to cast one from that game, but I don't know that's really what you want here. And wow, so we got Baneslayer and Lyra Dawnbringer. All right.
I was going to say we've got one of each. Very nice. Yeah. We do also have like temporary lockdown. Which could potentially be good.
Oh, yeah. That seems like an all-star here. I mean, survive. Like you talked about the Selfless Spirit protecting from removal. Well, it's not going to protect from temporary lockdown.
Yeah, exactly. So that could be something that we're going for. Elspeth, maybe. Like, it depends on how many counters you're getting rid of, but you've got to keep some amount, especially like the absorbs, because they also gain you life. Like, those are just going to be nice little catch-alls. But really, I think you kind of hit the nail on the head by saying this just seems like a pretty favorable matchup overall for Matt Hoey, unless we can see something really start to get going fast for Sam.
Yeah, I think we're going to see Matt. I don't think he's going to probably want to overboard here. Like Elspeth's on Champion, if it's in play, that's great. It's unlikely that Sam can beat it, but I don't think Matt's going to want to risk getting stuck with too many expensive cards in his hand. Lockdown seems like a winner. Some of maybe the Angels. We'll see. It's just a matter of how many cards he wants to trim out, really.
Yeah, I'm in agreement, and that also could end up depending on play draw. We could be making sure that we are on the cheaper end of things to start things off, and that may also mean that the Censors stay in because you're just trying to really spend time making sure that you're getting a turn 3 play from Sam when you're on turn 2.
Yeah.
Whereas those normally maybe don't stay in.
Yeah, it depends. Yeah, also Thalia plays a role here. I mean, Thalia on turn 2 is so good. It can't be stopped. Now that Sam's going to be going first, that would shut off Censor on the turn 3 play. There's no way to really understate Thalia's impact in the match. If it's in play or if it's not, it's going to change everything about what Matt Hoey does. So, yeah, we'll see. That's got to be what Sam's looking for now that he knows the matchup, knows what he's up against.
And definitely going to be hoping to see those sideboard cards, at least one, hopefully multiple, though unfortunately with there only being potentially 6 cards that we're bringing in, this could be a little bit of a spooky situation as Matt Hoey is going to, I believe this is Sam's deck that we're pile shuffling actually.
All right. Well, and then there's also the cards in Sam's sideboard he's bringing in. Wedding announcements, sure, that's fine. Gideon's good. These aren't, game-winning cards. These are cards that help. And Matt has answers to those also. We saw Detention Sphere. So none of these are really going to make it easy. This is going to be an uphill climb for Sam to win 2 games here, especially game 3 when he's potentially, not potentially, when he would be going second.
Indeed. Well, we do get to go back down here, and Sam, hopefully we'll have a nicer start here, but is instead going to go back to 6 cards once again. That was a big portion of how the last match started as well. We did actually end up seeing that a Hopeful Initiate got put to the bottom. We ended up drawing a Hopeful Initiate anyway, so we ended up basically with the original 7. But then keeping instead Brave the Elements that we didn't end up using for a lot of the game. Do you think in the blind it does make more sense to keep something like that Brave the Elements, or do you like with an aggro deck just keeping more creatures? Because I've personally felt at different places about that thought process, usually also kind of in a meta-dependent way as well.
Well, yeah, I'm not in love with Brave the Elements here. I mean, it does stop. We saw Detention Sphere. But one of the uses of Brave the Elements is just to alpha strike through the opponent's board of blockers. And that's not going to come up here, or at least very often. So, I'm not going to go out of my way to prioritize keeping Brave the Elements around, even though it may end up mattering. Another notable thing is this temporary lockdown we're talking about that, that does sweep up the board. But these Hopeful Initiates, if there's any counters to acquired, are ways to blow that up, as well as Detention Sphere. So Initiate could find some use. We're just trying to look for positives here for Sam. I mean, this is he easily could steal a game here, just getting underneath Matt. That's what he's hoping for. 1 drop into Thalia, into something else. But it doesn't seem overly positive.
Yeah, looks like we have got 2 lands. Are we thinking about putting a land back? Do we have 3 lands? There's got to be a 3rd land if we were even thinking about putting a land back. But it does look like I can make out a Hopeful Initiate and a Wedding Festivities at least.
All right. That's good. Something provides value over time. Here's the Hopeful Initiate. Matt, I don't think he has the basic land types. Yeah, he's going to start with Glacial Fortress tapped. Okay. That might lead to a little bit slow development since there is another fortress in hand. All right. Luminarch Aspirant will get the Hopeful Initiate going. The idea with Initiate is you obviously want to put the counters on your other creatures and then grow the Initiate. But it's the only thing on the board. May as well get in for an extra point right now.
Yeah, I certainly hope that Luminarch Aspirant was instead something like a Thalia, but it does also continue to hurt Sam the longer you go down on cards and go for those mulligans. So I definitely understand going for the keep, but it does feel a little bit rough. Portable Hole, going to take care of that Hopeful Initiate. Now just the Luminarch Aspirant in play.
All right, irrigated farmland into play for Matt. So slow development here on the mana, but still containing the board. Sam looking at the wedding announcements in his hand. So if the Hopeful Initiate had stayed in play, potentially could have made a cantrip this turn. As it is, it's likely just to start making tokens, which is, okay also. Maybe considering the timing of whether he wants to play it now, whether he wants to play his Soldier of the Pantheon to potentially draw a card next turn. There are some choices to be made here.
Yep, especially when you drew a land and you're thinking, oh, whatever I draw next turn is certainly going to be something that I can play. I'm just trying to decide exactly how you're utilizing the resources that you know for sure that you have. And it does mean that we are going to go for at least committing. You're committing an extra creature to the board either way, just deciding if you're going to try and get the extra draws from hoping that your creatures hold on into the next turn. But I think that this feels a little bit safer to me. So I do think I would have done about the same thing as Sam.
All right. All right, looking at his hand, a few lands there. Censor. One of the angels is in hand. I think that's Lyra or Lyra. I don't actually know the accurate pronunciation there. And there's another Glacial Fortress, this time coming to play untapped.
Break the Elements was the draw for turn. Probably not exactly what you want to see, but it's fine.
Matt's going to scope out this wedding announcements again. Why don't we bring this up on the screen? 3-mana enchantment. At the end of your turn, you either make a 1/1 or draw a card, depending on whether you attack with 2 creatures or not during the turn. And then after 3 counters, it will flip. After 3 turns, it will flip into Wedding Festivities as an anthem. So the Brave of the Elements did get used here on the White March, Mother Arch of Otherworldly Light, trying to take out the Luminarch. So this is actually going to turn into a fairly good turn for Sam. Some damage comes across. Going to pick up a card from Wedding Festivities that she really does need, and then commits another creature to the board, which, I mean, hoping there's not a verdict, because if there is, yeah.
I'm feeling a little bit unsure about committing this extra creature, but I think you're just saying if you have it, cool. If you don't, then I'm going to continue to try to run this over, and it doesn't look like there is, but there are 2 copies of Wandering Emperor, so one of these attacking creatures is getting sliced.
Wandering Emperor is so strong. The ability to... Okay, chat did pick up on something there, which the players missed, and so did we, and there's no way to back up and catch that now. But yeah, when the I'm not sure what the timing was, but when the March was cast and then the Brave of the Elements was cast, was that already during combat? I think it was already during combat, right? Yeah, so I think things happened correctly there. The counter had already come on by that point.
Yeah, or the counter was already...
Yeah, because the counter comes on before attackers are declared, and I think the March came out during combat.
Attackers.
So yeah, no, I think everything happened correctly there.
Wandering Emperor is in play.
This is interesting though. The Thalia forced the Wandering Emperor to come into play before combat,
which is actually kind of great.
Yeah, really significant. As now, if he wants to, Sam can attack it. I don't know if he will, but that is something that's very rarely an option.
All right, what's going to be the decision here?
I think we have to be going all at the face here.
I feel like we're playing the memory cup game where we're just moving all of the cups around with the ball under it. Yeah. And just trying to decide where are these creatures going.
Because if we want to kill Wandering Emperor, we have to send 2 creatures at it. And then if we do that, that means we're not actually going to do any damage to Matt, because he'll just kill one of the creatures kill the one creature that's attacking himself.
Well, don't we have to send 3 at it?
Well, I guess.
Oh, I guess because the exile's going to do... It's a minus. You're right. Okay.
No, let's see. No, you're right, because I was thinking we had 3 power creatures, but we don't.
No.
2 of the creatures
but if the minus kills one of the creatures, the rest of the damage will still...
Yeah, so 2 creatures at Wanderer. I think it's just got to be all at Matt.
You think so?
I do. I think you just leave the Wandering Emperor there. Well, okay. Sam disagrees. Maybe he's right. So we'll see if any damage at all came through there, but it seems unlikely.
That seems so scary to me. But I guess the Wandering Emperor doesn't... I mean, it could have made a creature, made a 2/2, but then it would have died still too. That's interesting. I wonder.
All right, wedding festivities flips over, and now here's Lyra. And well, it's gonna be tough. That is now the biggest thing on the board for strike and lifelink. Well, is there 2 Thalia's lieutenants in hand? That would at least allow.
Whoa.
Well, you know what? I take it back. That still wouldn't allow an attack here.
Yeah.
No, it would, because we have the wedding festivities in play now. So
Oh, true.
we do have a boost in power. So Thalia has 3 power with first strike. 2 lieutenants would make it a 5, so that could actually attack and get through the Lyra, but nothing else can go with it.
Yeah, that seems awkward then. Do you want... That's like also throwing out everything that's in your hand to get off 1 attack, but also you have to imagine that Lyra is just going to swing at you the next turn anyway if you just like stop attacking.
Yeah.
Maybe?
I mean, it could. Matt may not be at a point where he's had so much... Like, if he takes 5 here and drops to 7, then even an attack back to 12, he's very much dead on the board. So that may not be an option. He may have to... I'm not sure the contents of his hand. He may have to actually trade with the Thalia here, which would be a big win for Sam, I think. Sam looks to have a Hall of Storm Giants, Wandering Emperor, Censor. I'm sorry, Matt has that.
And Sam also, heads up, activated the Mutavault to allow for that to be a human to get 2 counters from both of these lieutenants coming into play.
So Soldier of the Pantheon still, I believe, has 5 toughness. So I don't think anything can attack besides Thalia here.
Yeah, that hurts, but
yeah,
looks
but
like it will be the play.
It is 5 across. Dropping Matt to 7. He may need a Wrath here because next turn, I mean, this is a humongous attack next turn for Sam. Even if Matt's able to... Okay, the life totals is just adjusted there. Matt was at 14, so now at 9. Wandering Emperor in hand plus Lyra. So if an all-out attack happens next turn from Sam, Matt will effectively be at 14. Wandering Emperor probably kills Thalia. How much comes across? Looks like...
Is there a chance that you just cycle Censor first, see what you can draw, and if you can draw Wrath, go for it?
Probably. You need a land. It's tough. With Thalia in play, things are more expensive.
Plains.
I agree with you that Censor is worthless at this point. However, if Matt doesn't have another land, then he needs all his mana in play just to be able to cast the Wandering Emperor.
Oof. Okay.
So chat talking about... Yeah, so the reason Matt didn't block there is Thalia has 5 power because of the wedding festivities, the 2 counters plus its base, and it has first strike, so they would have traded with Lyra. And Matt wasn't interested in that. So it was certainly not just a free block or anything of the sort.
Ooh, did we just draw Plains?
Even so... It's going to be hard to gauge for Sam. Matt actually has 7 life that can be gained this turn between the Lyra and the Wandering Emperor.
Yep. Yeah, so is that 16 effectively?
If this is anything relevant here...
oh, well, it wasn't a Plains, so thank goodness for that.
All right, so that boosts some counters. That's actually going to push at least 1 more damage through. And the sacrifice effect obviously could be relevant. But yeah, I think we're going to see Sam all in here.
Yeah, you have to. I mean, at this point, you're like just being like, oh, thank God you didn't have a Wrath. So my days are numbered.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that this is...
Let's track this through.
Because we just need to get 16 damage total, for all intents and purposes, because it's all going at Matt. Yeah. And it looks like we have 5 from the human, add 6, so 11, another 5 of 17, and that's just with the creatures in the front.
So Lyra blocks Soldier, which it will kill with first strike. Soldier with 5 toughness. Or this is potential. This is Matt thinking this through, but let's just say, I mean, that's the biggest creature. That would mean. Yeah, I believe I agree with your count. I think Matt can. It's close, but I don't think Matt can survive here. Maybe this Wandering Emperor doesn't kill Thalia. I mean, Thalia's not the. No, it's tied. Yeah, I think it's done.
Yeah.
This is by very narrow margins here. Sam Duchow does even up the match at 1 game apiece.
But then it's scary how close that actually ends up
Mhm.
being for Sam. And that was like on the play with a pretty good start. Like didn't have Thalia on turn 2, which is always going to be like your ideal against a control deck, but it's still definitely going to be a little spooky, and definitely hoping to just like maybe not have to mulligan for game number 3, and definitely hoping to have that Thalia on turn 2, especially when you're going to be on the draw.
Yeah, but that wedding announcements, I mean, did play a big role. Ended up making a token and then drawing 2 cards, I think. And Matthew Hoey just didn't have the removal that game. Drew, had just ended up with a bunch of lands. This Lyra Dawnbringer, you're expecting most cases is going to be stabilized the board. Couldn't quite do that. The Thalia being able to attack through it after the double lieutenant was crucial towards Sam putting together enough pressure to actually take down that game. And Matt probably didn't necessarily do anything wrong there. It was just the double lieutenant kind of got things out of hand and wasn't able to keep up.
Yeah, well, between as you mentioned, double lieutenant having wedding festivities, that's just a lot of damage anyway. You slice it, and if you're not going to be able to commit things to the board or have a wrath to deal with it, which we just didn't see in that game, despite the fact that this Azorius control deck, if we take a look at the deck list, is playing, well, 4 copies, plus we believe brought in the temporary lockdown. So has a lot of things to deal with creatures, namely also has the Detention Sphere that can potentially take out more than one creature. And so there are a lot of things to answer cards from this mono white aggro deck. But I guess, if you're only playing like 5 technically board wipes, you're maybe not in as good a position as you would like to be.
Yeah, there's still a lot of solid cards here. One note about that last game. So one thing that could have gone slightly differently was the timing of that March of Otherworldly Light. If it went off, and this is pretty intricate, and until you've run into it, you're probably not going to think about it. But if it had gone off with the Luminarch Aspirant trigger on the stack, that would have been 1 less counter on a creature. Maybe that matters over the course of a few turns. I don't remember now the case of how much mana Sam had available, but if that March comes out on Matt's main phase, maybe the Brave the Elements doesn't even get cast. Maybe it wasn't even available at that point. So there were a couple things both regarding that same interaction that maybe could have gone differently. We'd have to really go back and forensically examine the outcome of the damage race and see whether it would have changed the pacing or not.
But yeah, we're also in the interesting place of like we don't know exactly what like the interaction verbally between these two players is. So we're like assuming based on how things ended up going on the board, what the interaction was and how things got played. But it is sometimes a little bit difficult to piece together when we don't have a verbal understanding of what's happening with the players.
All right, production, you heard it. Becky's asking for player mics.
I do not, absolutely not. I don't want to listen to them. with peace and love, that would be too overwhelming.
All right. Well, Sam, I think is mulligan all 3 games so far is, 1 up on the scoreboard. So looking for a better start, maybe looking for Thalia. Although now that wedding announcements is boarded in, turn 2 Thalia is not quite as good because you would delay your wedding announcements as well if that was something that was a possibility.
Yes, gotta be a hope to have something like that. Again, it's probably also just like every single one of these sideboard games, just like looking for Thalia very fervently and just like hoping, please off the top of my deck, give me 2 lands and a Thalia so that I can stay in this game a little bit longer.
Yeah, but I mean, we're talking about Thalia Guardian Thraben almost exclusively for what Sam wants here, but certainly other cards played a role here. Thalia's Lieutenants were huge. All those, because of that, all the creatures were big. Animating your Mutavault to pick up the counters was important. There was a lot going on here. I don't know if there's any land at all in Sam's 6-card hand here.
Oh, and it's gonna go to 5 too. I mean, okay, well, this time I'm gonna do cope a little bit. You're on the draw, so just saying, you know what, we'll be able to get up a new extra land here somewhere. New land, new card. Hopefully going to be something that keeps you in it for a little bit longer, and certainly has to be looking for some exact cards. I mean, so the other card that I think that we haven't really talked about for the mono white deck that actually I think like came out kind of late, but actually did end up mattering maybe a little bit more than we anticipated, or at least can matter a little bit more, is that Dauntless Bodyguard.
Mm-hmm.
Being able to give indestructible to at least one creature. It's not super great against like Portable Hole and Lockdown, but at least being able to have some creatures be able to survive those bigger hits from those board wipes and stuff can kind of be the difference maker.
Mm-hmm. All right, so Sam's spending his time shuffling here. These have been two somewhat, well, game one especially was somewhat longer. I think we're still comfortable on time, but let's see if we can get an update on how much time is left in the round for these players. But okay, so I'm told it's about 11 minutes, so that probably is sufficient.
There's time.
Yeah,
we're looking good. All things
Sam definitely not in a hurry here.
I think Sam has decided, as one usually does in these aggro versus control mirrors, that I'm either gonna win in 5 minutes or I'm gonna lose in like 7 minutes.
Maybe.
And the rest of the time that's on the clock, if I've already had lunch, we're chilling.
Well, maybe he hasn't had lunch, and all that shuffling was just him daydreaming about where he's going to go to dinner.
Yeah, I've caught myself doing that at Magic tournaments before, so certainly wouldn't smirk him for that.
All right, I think I see a Plains. Well, I definitely see a Plains and maybe a Mutavault. Yeah, okay, so there's 2 keeps. There's a Thalia.
Okay.
All right. Well, this hand has tools.
Yeah, there are some. Those are what we're choosing. Okay. I'm trying to figure out what exactly. Okay.
Yeah. So that was the 1 copy of Gideon that went to the bottom there, and I don't believe there's any shuffling in Sam's deck, so that's gone. Yeah. It's not coming back.
I like that discipline though, saying I've only got 2 lands. This card costs 4 mana. I'm trying not to be flooded on lands.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go ahead and just not worry about it. Ooh, okay. Sam has done such a phenomenal job of playing around Censor for this whole game. Do you just do it anyway?
No, for the whole match. Yeah,
for the whole match. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, no, there's no. I mean, extraction specialist in hand, so this Thalia can come back if Sam draws another land. There might actually be another Thalia in hand as well. So, yeah, I think when you're down a couple cards, I mean, you gotta just make do with what you can. You can't slow play stuff. You want to try and get under Matthew as much as you can, even if it's tough. Yeah, there is another Thalia. Comes across and okay, well, Matt's going to trade off a 1/1 shark for this, add an advantage, and that's a tough development for Sam. I guess you could spend Brave the Elements here, but who wants to do that really?
Yeah, that's pretty rough. So let's see. Cave gonna come down. Another creature land. So does cost, I believe, 5. It's gonna be 4 mana. Is it 5? It's 5. Okay.
It's a 3/4 flyer, I believe. So that's for much later.
That's for when we get flooded, not the Gideon ally of Zendikar, the Cave of the Frost Giant. Frost Dragon? Frost Giant? Giant is Hall. Frost Dragon.
Hard to even see the dragon in the picture there.
I kind of like that though. I like that it's like if you were actually in a cave and you were like, wow, this kind of looks like a dragon.
And then the dragon
is actually there.
Moves and devours you. Yeah, great. That sounds like a fun experience.
You know, but if I was going to have a last experience, that might be how I want it to go.
Okay, fair. All right, here's an attack, and then Eiganjo is going to try and shoot down Thalia, and there's a pause here. I don't know what we're thinking about.
I mean, there's the Brave the Elements, yeah.
Well, so there's a couple issues there, but I think that maybe have been the pause. I agree with you. So for one, Brave the Elements can't be cast because of Thalia, but maybe Sam didn't think that through. But also, what color is Eiganjo to protect with Brave the Elements? I don't think it is a color.
Oh, is it not a color because it's a land?
It's a land,
kind of makes sense. Yeah.
Anyway, here's Baneslayer Angel.
Oy,
Sam
Matt's
managed to sneak
it.
Lyra in game 2, so Matthew's like, all right, we're going to the original. Give me Baneslayer for game 3.
Well, has Lyra in hand too, and the fun
Wow.
part about how Lyra interacts with Baneslayer Angel is that we actually get to make Baneslayer Angel bigger too.
Yeah, the fun part. Not fun for Sam, but very,
No.
very cool for Matthew Hoey to pick up 1 extra point there. And yeah, this pretty much eliminates. So Sam can say with confidence, Matthew is not going to cast a sweeper this game. He's not going to.
Doesn't need to.
Well, but well, that's next. We want to be positive here.
Okay.
So we know Matt's not going to play a sweeper. How can we just make our plans taking that in mind? And well, here's a wedding announcements that Thalia is going to prevent being cast. So that's not great. Also, you're facing down 11 points of flying lifelink, and you can't attack. So there are some negatives.
Well, you're really good at being positive.
Wait, hold on. How is this wedding announcements being cast?
Oh, yeah, it should not be.
Oh, Sam,
Oh,
I'm trying to look for the upside for you here, but that wasn't it.
Yeah.
If we can radio over, I don't know if we can get this game stopped before Matt just wins.
You know, at least we made a token instead of drawing a card. That's much worse to reverse.
That's true. All right, let me.
You know, I'm also going to be honest. Even if we cast this wedding announcement, I don't think it changes the outcome of this game at all.
I know. I'm actually remembering now that I actually have a direct line of communication with a table spotter for the first time this month, which was a good idea. And as soon as I type it in, the match ends anyway. So Matthew Hoey defeats Sam Duchow and defeats the proper resolution of the spells. But what are you going to do? Maybe.
I mean, in the end, it doesn't matter. You know,
No.
in the great words of Linkin Park, and the Angels still got to take the game down.
Yeah. So maybe maybe Sam will be assessed a warning at some point retroactively. We'll let you know, but maybe that'll just get dismissed as he did die under a horde of flying lifelinking angels there, which if you're going to go down, I guess that's one way to go down. Is that preferable to getting devoured by a cave dragon?
Yeah, maybe I'd prefer to die to angels instead, actually.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I bet they're fierce though. 5/5.
They've probably, Baneslayer Angel, she seems like she would actually just give you like a really swift end.
Yeah, there's a long list of names that she has, taken over the years. Certainly some in my hands. But and then Lyra on top of that, yeah, that's just well, there's no overcoming that, is there? All right, so that's round 6. That went pretty long. I don't know if we're gonna show a backup or not, but we are gonna show the leaderboard. Let's get the season 2 leaderboard up on the screen so you can see what's at stake for the rest of the day. This is updated as of right now. So the modern 10K is included in this list. So there are some changes from yesterday. Jesse Robkin has now locked up one of the invites. The winner of this event receives 20 points. And as you can see, she cannot be passed by any player, much less 2 players. So she is in to the championship.
Ooh.
Scott Pulera, on the basis of yesterday's finish, has actually leapfrogged Zach Dubin and Josh Warsaw and is now in line for the second bid. I can tell you the records of the players heading into this round. We had Jesse Robkin at 4-1, so increasing her margin in case there's any doubt. Larry Fields at 4-1. You can see he's in 8th place there with 49 points. Zach Dubin at 3-2, and Scott Pulera at 2-3. So we still could see some changes here. The point breakdowns. In fact, if we have the prize payout for today's event, we can throw that up there because that does include the point totals as well. And you can see the points on the side there. So top 32 with 4 points. Even though Scott Pulera is 2-3, he's really got to try and battle and try and get at least that high to retain his spot because Zach Dubin and Larry Fields are coming after it. This may go down to the wire.
I know you were like kind of trying to see if you could tell where a lot of these players were in this event as well. Were you able to see who has a good record in this event to give us the inside scoop on that, or do you not know exactly?
No, we do. No, we So we got Jesse and Larry who are 4-1.
Mm-hmm.
So you can see that Jesse's done, but Larry is 14 points behind. So that's a possible margin to make up. For example, if you're to win and go to 69 points, then Scott or Zach could hold them off with a decent finish. But any these results are still up in there. Josh Warsaw did not play this weekend, so it's really going to come down to Scott Polaris, Zach Dubin, or Larry Fields. One of them will join the already qualified players at the NRG Championship, and you can see that here with a change from yesterday, as Jesse Robkin has now been added as the first Season 2 at-large berth. So now we have 8 players of our 16 for the end of the year. Ivan Espinosa, Piper Powell, locking things up early. Ivan locked his up last year at the championship. Piper wins the Season 1 showdown. Joseph Bernal and Andrew Ellenbogen qualified through points in Season 1. Connor Mullally, Theo Jung, and Max Komanowski qualified together by winning the Season 2 team showdown. And then Jesse Robkin in Season 2 at large bid. So one more at large bid today, and then we've got Season 3. If you're interested in trying to compete for Season 3, here's the schedule. Every player resetting to 0 on the season leaderboard. The overall leaderboard continues, obviously, throughout the year, and 4 unqualified players will get in through that at the end of the year as well. But upcoming events, Newark, Ohio, Fort Wayne, Indiana, Mundelein, Illinois, and Louisville, Kentucky. And a note, if you were with us the last few months and heard, well, the Louisville event was at NebulaCon, and NebulaCon was canceled, you heard. Well, you were correct, but the event will still go on in the same venue, just absent Nebula. Instead of being NebulaCon, including Nerd Rage Gaming, it's just Nerd Rage Gaming.
It is Nerd Rage Con.
For those of us, I think, that are Magic players, you know what? It doesn't make a difference anyway, right? Whatever NebulaCon was, I'm sorry, it's not going to exist this year, but the Nerd Rage train will continue. All right, that was a lot of stuff. We had a long round. Woo. I haven't heard word yet whether we're having a backup or not. I'm assuming not. Yeah, the round is over with. So Becky and I step away. We'll get round 7 paired up, and we'll see who is playing winning in for top 8. This is Nerd Rage Gaming. We'll be right back.